Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Monthly Comic Book Roundup. I am Super2. Joining me today is Simeon Scott, the Vacuuminator.
Happy New Year! Woo! We made it!
You got like a couple more hours. Oh man. Alrighty, so here we are for the Monthly Comic Roundup.
No idea where that noisemaker went.
Oh no. We have the Monthly Comic Roundup for December of 2018 here, as well as some comic book related news. So I hope everyone had a good month, good Christmas, good year. Hope everyone has a good new year and all that jazz. Anyway, Vac, you're the one who actually pays attention. Who started last time?
It was you, I believe, unless I forgot to update the document, but it does say I go first this month, so shall I?
Go for it.
All right. Well, my pick for the first week of the month is Aquaman. I thought this movie was... No, I'm joking. It's the first issue of Jeff Johns' new Shazam book. Ian, I am absolutely in love with this. I've never given a crap about Captain Marvel before. I've always thought he was neat in like the couple cartoons he's shown up in that I've seen. I saw him in Justice League and Young Justice and Justice. I'm sure that was a show at some point.
But, no, it's like it's spelled just us. Justice.
Yes. Show about multiple heroes and they all meet up in the season finale. But this was really charming. It's less of like a Shazam book and more of like a Shazam family book, because we saw that teaser image of all of them on the roller coaster, but it's really like you get a quick little recap of Billy Batson's origin as Captain Marvel, or I guess I have to say Shazam now because otherwise Marvel's lawyers will snipe me from 5 buildings away. And then we get a little scene of the Shazam family stopping a museum robbery, and it's just really cute because the way they're written, and I've not read a lot of John's stuff before, but it seems like he has a really good handle on how to write kids, because they all seem like very realistic kids of that age. Especially when we go back to the foster home and they're having dinner, and there's this neat little gridded panel scene of them just having like a very chaotic but still fun and cute family dinner conversation. And then immediately they go back to the subway station where Billy got his powers, and that's like their clubhouse. And we see there's parts of it that they still haven't explored, and that's going to be part of this story. Some absolutely beautiful artwork in this. And the end page reveal is something that I'm not super familiar with Captain Marvel, so I don't know if this has been done before. But Billy and Mary's dad shows up, so and like their birth father. So clearly, Johns is building to a whole bunch of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff being set up, a lot of really fun character interaction, and I just really, really enjoyed it. Felt like the most wholesome book I'd read in forever. And then to bolster it even more, there's a backup that retells the incredibly sad yet heartwarming origin story of Mary Marvel with her like abusive foster parents that she runs away from, and she gives all of the money she stole from them to survive to a Salvation Army Santa. And it's like, well, Salvation Army's kind of but she's a kid, she doesn't know any better, and it's still really sweet from that perspective. And then she meets the Shazam foster parents and goes to a new home and finds out about all that stuff and instantly makes friends with all of them, and it's really cute. And we end off on the reveal of their pet bunny has Shazam powers now.
No, yeah, that's
I
how
don't know.
the Marvel family works.
I don't know where that's gonna go, but just some really cute artwork in this story, and I absolutely dug it. I would highly recommend anyone who has any level of interest in Captain Marvel slash Shazam go check this out. It's a really cute little book that I kind of feel like is appropriate for all ages. I mean, there's some implications of stuff with Mary Marvel's origin that might be a little over kids' head, but it's not like anything is shown that it's like it's going to traumatize a little kid.
Okay, that's interesting. I just want to go through a couple things in order of thoughts as they occurred. Number one, the Justice League. You said they all just follow separate heroes and meets up in the season finale.
I know. I described seven
Soldiers of Victory. Okay, I didn't know if you were aware of that. I found that really funny. Number two, I do agree. I think John's one of his strengths is writing pretty realistic children. I didn't love what he was doing with the Shazam backup with Gary Frank, but something I thought was really, really good and really clever with that is Billy Batson is a kind of a crummy kid who gets superpowers. He's a preteen or whatever in that original backup. He gets superpowers and just like uses them totally irresponsibly, which is just very realistic to me, and I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I bought the trade of that stuff because I loved this so much, and I wanted to go back and see what it was like, because also apparently the Shazam movie that's coming out this summer is an adaptation of that backup.
Yeah. So like that was just, I don't know, just it always felt very genuine to me. So I did quite enjoy that too. And it's good to know that he's continued it onward with the Shazam series. And number three, I have no idea what Mary Marvel's origin ever has been, so it's just kind of neat that there's a new version of it out there now. So
yeah, like I said, I knew next to nothing about the Shazam family going into this. I knew the basics of Captain Marvel himself and like what his origin was, but getting to experience the Shazam family in this, which I always thought it was just Captain Marvel Jr. and Mary Marvel, but there's a couple other characters in there, and I was like, oh, this is pretty neat little, like, why hasn't this book been around forever? Because I feel like this is the all ages book I always hear parents who are comic book readers saying they want. That's not like a little kids book like Tiny Titans or something like that.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and take over next. So my pick for the first week of December is Doctor Strange, number 9.
Ooh, I see there's a new foe in that.
There's a what?
I said, ooh, I see there's a new foe in that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, new foe on Bleecker Street. Sorry, I didn't pay attention to that at all. So I've been a little up and down on this book ever since they stopped doing the space adventure stuff, because I thought the space adventure stuff was really fun. And I was like, oh, now we're just doing normal-ass Doctor Strange stories. But this story I really like because it's a nice, simple one and done. It's just really cool. So this is about Doctor Strange's connection to the neighborhood that his house is on. And it's just really interesting to see how it works. So you've got this this shady corporation that's buying up all these houses in this New York neighborhood, and they want to tear them down and build a freaking mini mall over it. And Doctor Strange is refusing to sell, and everyone else is refusing to sell. But Doctor Strange is, kind of protecting the whole neighborhood, and it's just it's really kind of trippy and cool because like he starts off with this guy's trying to pressure his way into the house to talk to him. And he's like, okay, fine, come in. And it's just like everything awful that you could possibly imagine in Doctor Strange's house happens to this guy, which is really kind of fun and cool. And then, you see like his connection to the rest of the neighborhood. So like he looks after some grandkids of a family, and like this one panel kind of tells you everything about how Doctor Strange babysits, and I really like that.
That is adorable. That
right?
If he was just in costume, you could make that a Doctor Strange poster.
Right?
I'd buy it.
right? But then like the developer keeps coming and they blow up, they start getting even shadier and they like blow up a convenience store and all this stuff. And eventually Doctor Strange has to bring his lawyer into it because the corporation reveals that Doctor Strange is an occultist, and so he's got protesters on his front lawn with all like the, pray for our children, God equal heaven, Satan equal hell, no black magic, respect our faith. So he's got all these people protesting his Satanism in the village. I even like it. It's the title of the headline, Satanism in the village. So he's got to like.
That sounds like a film the cinema snob would review.
Right. So he's got to go to the corporation with his lawyer and deliver a slander suit. And there's his lawyer. I love the touch of the briefcase here on the art. That is what makes that image so perfect to me. So the suit is overturned and everything, and then finally it looks like, okay, they're done. But then the real person behind all this finally comes to visit Strange, and he's a demon monster, and he wants the house for its connections to interdimensional portals, blah 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 blah. And Strange has to fight him, and I really like just I love the speech that Strange gets to give here. You have no idea. Would you like to know why I won't let you have Bleecker Street? Why I'm so protective of it? It has nothing to do with any gates. It's because I like the people. Because this is a wonderful neighborhood full of joy and life. It is quirky and it is charming, and good families have built lives here that I will not let you destroy. That's what That's what I'm protecting. The house can go anywhere. And then he just kicks him out the front door and they're on the moon.
10 out of 10.
Right? And he's like, you wanted real estate, 14.6 million square miles. All
Please
yours.
tell me he did a mic drop. Please tell me he pulled a mic out of nowhere and did a mic drop.
He almost does it better. He slams the door and says, gentrify that, as the house disappears. And so, yeah, that was just a really fucking awesome story, and I really like that.
I wish I had the kind of neighborhood pride Doctor Strange has, because that's like one of the most badass things I've ever seen. But like, I live on a back road in bumfuck nowhere, South Carolina, so I'm just kind of surrounded by hillbillies and nice older Southern people.
Yeah. So no, I really like this. It's a great one and done. There's a little moment at the end that's teasing like the next story, and I'm kind of like, I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy that as much. This is just the thing that Mark Waid is a really good writer, and I really like Mark Waid as a writer. Doctor Strange is a character I'm not super into. So like, Mark Waid can do things with Doctor Strange that I like, but then sometimes he's just kind of, it's Doctor Strange. You have to tell a certain kind of story with Doctor Strange, and so Mark Waid's kind of drifting back and forth between those two things.
See, like, I keep meaning to check out that run, and I'm probably going to have to do it in trade now. It's so far in, because Doctor Strange is a character I'm super interested in. I've not read, like, anything with him, though. It's just, like, the movie made me wake up to, like, oh, this is a really cool character. I should look into him at some point. And I generally like Mark Waid's writing. So I think I would like that run. I just haven't given it a chance yet.
Yeah, no, I think the first story arc in this run was absolutely fantastic with adventuring around space and stuff. I thought that was a really awesome premise. The second arc was kind of just, it's not bad. It's just pretty typical. Yeah, this is what you expect with the Doctor Strange book. And then there's just this issue. So it's only 9 issues in, so you still catch up.
It's only $25.
Yeah, right? Oh man. All right. What else have you got for us, sir?
All right. So for week 2, kind of an obvious pick, but like, can you really blame me? It's Batman Annual number 3. Yeah! This is, I feel like an ass for saying this because it's the last month of the year, but this is the best one and done I've read all year. I feel like this is the new best Alfred story. I feel like anybody who is a Batman fan and wants to get into comics, I could throw this at them and say, this is your starting point. This is a great little story that just gives you what comics are like with these characters.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed this. I thought it was really interesting because I read that, and I'm going to spoil something that's coming down the line a little bit. I read that and this in the same week, and this has a reprint. This is a Walmart DC book. This has a reprint of Tom King's Good Boy in it, which is the Ace, the Ace story that won him an Eisner. And I think this works really well as almost like a spiritual sequel to that, because as much of it's like an Ace story, it's really an Alfred story, and this is like
I can see that
same path. So I thought that was really cool to kind of read those back to back like that.
And it's by a different writer, but like I've been reading a lot of Tom Taylor stuff recently, and this is him, and I really feel like Tom Taylor needs to be the next golden boy of comics, because he's like such an unsung hero. Like I was rereading the first couple Power Ranger annuals because I got a trade of that recently, and he's got, I think, a story or two in there, and those are both phenomenal. He did this. People always tell me Injustice is great. I'm like, give this guy a big name book. Let him really be at the forefront, because he's got some skills, man. He seems to get characters and story structure, and he's a writer.
I've heard good things about his X-Men Red as well. I've heard good things about Injustice. Because the current government shutdown a couple weeks ago, he tweeted out this panel from Injustice.
Yeah, I saw you retweet that. That's a really cool scene.
Yeah, where Flash and Green Lantern just come into the Senate and shut the doors, lock everyone in there. It's like, you don't get to play with people's livelihood. And I'm like, wait, this is the evil universe? What? So I thought that was really cool. Like, I don't know, I really like that because
from what I understand about Injustice, it's the evil universe, but it's in quotation marks because it's superheroes doing things you've always wanted to see them do, but we can't do it in comics because then some people would get really mad at DC.
Yeah, okay. I just really like that scene a lot because it's like Green Lantern politics. I'm such a fucking nerd when it comes to like everyone complains about like, oh, the Star Wars prequels are so bad because they had all the politics. And I'm like, no, I fucking love the politics of Star Wars.
No, space politics are really interesting. It's just the prequels did a really shitty job at them because George Lucas can't write.
Yeah, maybe, whatever. But like Green Lantern politics are really interesting to me because there's like all these issues of sovereignty. And so like my headcanon is, or the scene that I've always wanted to write, I should say, is like Hal Jordan doing a thing and some guy saying, what gives you the right? And he's like, I've been granted authority by the Guardians of the Universe. Well, what gives them the right? Dude, they're really old. They licked like everything. I want that scene to exist so badly. But yeah,
this
is good.
This is absolutely wonderful. Just like all the stuff early on with showing how Alfred helped raise Bruce, and then how the book is kind of about how he's still technically raising Bruce. It's just absolutely wonderful, and it shows like we always talk about, and there's that scene in, I believe it's it's either I Am Suicide or I Am Bane, where Batman's like, do you know how many times people have told me you're going to die tonight, Batman? I've always come through because I am Batman. It's like, yeah, Batman's cool because he's one of the most determined people ever. Alfred's like, if he's not as determined as Bruce, he's the second most determined guy ever, because without him, Batman would not be possible, because we get scenes like he's staying up late in bed with his clothes still on, just waiting for Batman to ring him up so he can go do something, because he knows he's going to have to. And you get the feeling like he wants a normal sleep schedule, but because of the Batman lifestyle, he has to keep the same sleep schedule as Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably works like just as hard as Bruce, but in like a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I really like this. This is a fantastic Alfred story. I'd put this probably not the best Alfred story. I'd put the best Alfred story I'd still give to Neil Gaiman's The Butler Did It.
I have not read that, but I will endeavor to at some point.
It was part of the Whatever Happened at the Cape Crusader series.
Oh, then I have read it and I just don't remember it.
Okay. That one is absolutely fantastic, but this is a really close second for me. Usually with annuals, you get like so many, you get a bunch of short stories. The fact that they dedicated a whole annual to Alfred, I thought was really, really cool, and I really, really appreciated it.
That's and I've always kind of felt like annuals should be one of those two things. It should either be like a bunch of little stories here and there that somebody just had like, I had an idea for a story, but it's not going to take up a whole issue. Okay, we'll throw it in an annual.
Mm-hmm.
Or do a really cool character spotlight like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. So yeah, it was really good. I think my favorite scene is the end here with Bruce taking care of Alfred. I really, really appreciated that.
And you get the title reveal, and I lost it at the title reveal, man. I was like, oh, of course, of course.
Yeah, it was a very, very good series. I was very impressed with this one. Oh man. Alrighty, so then I guess it's your turn again. Move
on to week 3.
Yeah, I guess
we had the same book.
Yeah, so it's your turn again.
I don't think we'll have the same book again this show.
Okay.
Because my next book is it's appropriately themed. It's a Christmas title. This came out the week of Christmas, so I'm going to be talking about Season's Beatings #1, which is the Deadpool holiday special for this year. And it's called the Deadpool holiday special, but really it's like a couple of short stories featuring various Marvel characters and a Deadpool through line that is kind of tied into the stories. But yeah, this was really cute, kind of funny. The through line is like a mall Santa has disappeared at like a big mall in New York. And so instead they're getting the original X-Force to come out and sign photos. And Domino and Shatterstar, I believe, are arguing about like who has to go find Deadpool because he's late. And then we immediately jump over to Deadpool just like digging through a dumpster in a Santa costume talking about the holidays. It's like, yeah, this is on brand. And then we cut to the first short story, which is Off Duty, which is about Peter and Miles. And it's basically about like, Peter Parker's always a super stressed out, super busy guy, and on the holidays he's even more so. And he goes to try and stop a villain that's robbing what I think is just a perfume store. And Miles and gang happen to be across the street in line to get a good deal on, I believe, sneakers, they say. I'm looking for the line where they say what they're waiting for here, but I can't find it. And they notice the robbery going on, and so Miles goes over and helps him as Spider-Man, but he doesn't realize that it's Peter right away because Peter's wearing the black suit, because in the first couple panels we see that the red suit is all tore up and he hasn't had time to sew it yet. So Miles accidentally attacks Peter thinking he's Venom, and the robber gets away, and it's kind of like an, oh shit, I screwed up moment. But Peter's super tired from just being really busy, and he sort of faints, and then he wakes up in a cab, and we find out that Miles paid for him to get a cab, took his costume, and left a note in his pocket that said, "Go have a happy holidays. I've got this one." And it's just like, okay, yeah, that's a wholesome little Christmas story. I like that. And then the second story is about Squirrel Girl trying to give Doctor Doom a Christmas present because Doctor Doom has outlawed Christmas in Latveria, but Squirrel Girl, being the wholesome good girl she is, she gives everyone in the Marvel Universe a Christmas present. So it's basically her trying to talk him into accepting it because she's like, look, I put it in Fantastic Four wrapping paper. You can rip it apart and pretend that it's Reed's head. It's just a little thing. You don't even have to consider it's for Christmas. Don't worry about it. And then he does open it, and it's a Doctor Doom nutcracker. And the note says, Dear Doctor Doom, next time you want to crack an enemy's skull, try cracking a nut first. Happy holidays, Squirrel Girl. It's like, that's really cute. And I like the idea. I do feel like Doom is the kind of guy who would ban Christmas in his country. So I really enjoyed that. Then there's another scene with Deadpool that doesn't really matter. And then we get a scene with the West Coast Avengers, or just Kate Bishop and Quentin Quire, investigating a murder of a mall Santa. And honestly, it's probably the weakest story of the bunch. It's just a kind of generic West Coast Avengers story. But there's some fun stuff with scrolls in there. Like, it's revealed that one of the potential people who could have murdered because all the potential murderers are like people who went out for the mall Santa job, and it's revealed that one of them is a scroll. But it's like they just beat him up without questioning it. But I'm like, what are the implications of this? Like, is there anything evil a scroll can actually do as a mall Santa, or did he just want to be a mall Santa because scrolls can look like anyone? Like, for all you know, this was a good boy, and you just beat him up and sent him to jail for a crime. So that was a bit of a weird story, and then we close out the Deadpool story by finding out that he set up the whole mall Santa thing, X-Force replacing them, because he thought it would be a funny joke, because nobody remembers or cares about the original X-Force, but haha, the joke's on him. Cable brought a bunch of X-Force fans from the 90s because fourth wall break. Funny. Laugh.
I find that legitimately funny.
I thought it was funny, but not like laugh out loud funny. It was like, yeah, okay, yeah. But yeah, that was a good little collection of Christmas stories, and it was generally the one I enjoyed the most that week. So there you go.
Fair enough. All right. So funny enough, we both picked Christmas themed books for this week. Mine is Klaus and the Crying Snowman.
Hey, I still need to look into Klaus.
It's really good. We just did Comic Book Club on it, so you missed your golden opportunity. So yes, Klaus and the Crying Snowman. This was like really interesting and just kind of fun. Number one, I really like the design of the Crying Snowman because he's got this like beefy tree trunk arm, and then he's got like this little stick arm.
That looks like an action figure waiting to happen.
I know, right?
I mean, so does Klaus, but like, I can just see the gimmick of like growing tree arm punch.
So this story starts out with Klaus fighting a giant tree monster with one eye. They start calling him Treeclops. I really like that. I thought that was a good name. He defeats it and then joins up with his other Christmas superpowered friends, the Yuletime Goat and Father Christmas. And then they realize that the Treeclopses are from an oncoming meteor that is actually the gods that brought about Ragnarok.
All right.
Yeah. So Klaus and the other wintertime good guys have to defeat the gods of that brought about the end of the Norse gods in Ragnarok. And so that just gives Dan Moore an excuse to draw some fucking gorgeous splash
I
page.
was gonna say that's some fairly epic looking shit for a Christmas one shot,
right? And then bunch of yada yadas. Klaus ends up finding this crying snowman who's sure that he's a dead guy that got put into a snowman's body through some kind of shenanigans.
So he is Swamp Thing, but with snow. He is Snow Thing.
Snow Thing. There we go. And Klaus is like, hey, listen, the warmer it gets, the dumber you're going to get because you're going to melt. So you better come with me to the moon of Titan where it's like negative 320 degrees. He's like,
all right.
Yeah, all right. And so they go in the epic sled pulled by mystical direwolves.
Whoa, that is insane looking. I can't even tell what exactly that is.
That's the sled.
That is... Wow. Holy... I gotta read more Grant Morrison shit, man. I read his autobiography this month, and I was like, well, goddamn, you wrote more shit than I thought. I got so much catching up to do.
Yeah, so they get to Titan, where there's this like mystical clock, and it's been taken over by one of the bad guys, and Klaus has to activate these robots he built to, purge the bad guys. And the robots are a bunch of bagpipes with wings.
Okay.
Yeah. So then Klaus actually starts to confront the bad guys and realizes, oh wait, you guys aren't evil. The last time you came to this system, you were just immediately attacked by the Norse gods, who were, kind of dicks. So yeah, that's on us. What are you here for? They're like, well, we need light and heat from your sun to bring back to our system. He goes, oh yeah, go ahead, take it. You're good. And everyone's like, Klaus, how did you know? How did you know that they were going to be that way? He's like, it's my thing. I know who's naughty and nice. That's pretty much the end of it.
I'm surprised Stephen Moffat has never ended a Doctor Who Christmas special that way.
Right? So anyway, that's almost the end of it. Then we get the conclusion of the man trapped in the snowman's body, and we get to like looks at what his life was like. He's been like cheating on his wife and ignoring his son, and then like he has his most recent memory, which is that he almost ran into this tree monster. He's like, oh, and that's when I died and got put into this body, huh? And he's like, oh, you're so sure you're dead, but no, I saved you. And right, and he's like, now it's time for you to go back to your house because everybody deserves a second chance. And so like the guy's kid starts running toward this melting snowman, and it's like, oh no, but then the snowman finally melts away and the father's body is returned to him and he gets his second chance with his family. Cool. Yeah, super sweet. Exactly the kind of thing that I would expect from a Grant Morrison Christmas special, if I'm being perfectly honest. So yeah, Klaus and the Crying Snowman, super epic, super cool, super sweet.
I've got to get on Klaus, man. I mean, like, it's on the list of topics for analytical fanboys. Chris put it on there, so it's going to happen eventually. But, like, the more I hear about the story, the more I'm like, yeah, maybe I should just read it on my own. Maybe I should, well, I don't know.
I mean, I'll say this. The first trade is get the hardcover. Spring for the hardcover, because it's one of the most gorgeous hardcovers I've ever seen. All the pages have a gold trim.
Ooh.
So it looks like the perfect Christmas book when you pick it up and just look at it. It's really worth a while. And it reads in a snap, too, because it's only 7 issues. It reads in a snap. It's something you can legitimately read through the whole thing on Christmas Day or something if you want.
Nice.
So I really do recommend it. All right. What do you got for us for the final week of December, sir?
All right, well, I think everybody knows this last week was a pretty sparse one. Marvel only put out a couple things. Every other company only put out a couple. DC didn't even do shit. DC took a week off. They're enjoying their government shutdown is what they're doing. So I mean, I was trying not to pick repeat stuff again this month because I do that a whole lot, and I wanted to put some fresh stuff in this month. But hey, it's GoBots #2, isn't it? So yeah, this is just like more of the same stuff I loved about the last issue, but this is just kind of like a giant battle issue because the renegades are going on full attack. They're shutting down cities and like running through them and causing all kinds of havoc. There's this scene where Psykill is just running after a bunch of humans and then just punts them into the air, and I'm like,
Jesus.
well, they're all dead. And there's a lot of discussion of like, well, how can they be doing this? And then they directly reference Isaac Asimov and go like, GoBots can't attack humans. It's the first rule of GoBotics.
Oh,
and I'm like, ha 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 ha. Yeah, I see what you did there. I understood that reference. And there's a lot of cool action-y stuff and like moral ambiguity on our hero's part, because there's a scene where one of our main characters goes and loots a liquor store, and the other one, who's like a teenage girl, is like, what are you doing? And he's like, it's the end of the world. Are you really gonna blame me? And I'm like, well, she may not, but I will. And they go to the lab where the GoBots are made, and we find out that the in-universe company that makes the GoBots is Tonka, because Tonka is the company that made GoBots in reality, but they were bought out by Hasbro, and then Hasbro retired. It's a whole thing. But
I'm legit surprised they were allowed to get away with that shit in the comic.
Well, I think they were allowed to because Hasbro owns Tonka now, so they were
okay.
They probably just needed to make a phone call, and they were like, "Hey, can we put Tonka in the comic as a fictional company?" And they were like, "Sure," because Hasbro is very lenient with their licenses. They're kind of good boys in that way. But they go to the lab, and the guy who made the GoBots, they're like, can you fix this? And he's like, we've been trying to fix it for years, and it keeps happening. This isn't like a defect. This is just them naturally evolving. There's nothing I can do. Sorry. And then he just fucks off. And I'm like, well, wow. Everybody's just kind of doomed this issue. Especially because there is a giant knockout drag down fight between Leader 1 and Psykill at the end, where Leader 1 kind of gets just brutalized. It's like the most brutal fictional robot fight I've ever seen, because Psykill tears his face mask off and then transforms, grows spikes out of his front wheel, and runs over the side of Leader 1's face and then drags him by his brains.
Nice.
Yeah, and then he somehow still gets up and is fine. And Psykill's pretty fucked up himself. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like Psykill's groveling on his knees, and he's like, well, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna finish you off. And Leader 1 is just standing there, and everybody's like, why have you fought this hard? Why do you care about humans so much? Everything's going to shit. Shouldn't you just run? And he opens his cockpit that's in his chest, and he reaches in, and we find out that since his fight with Psykill and the Renegades in last issue, he's been carrying around the dead body of his pilot that he was good friends with. And he just holds him, and he's like, there was nothing I could do. I had to fight. And it's like, fuck.
Damn.
And then the other GoBots, the other good GoBots are like, okay, well, what do we do next now that Psykill's kind of defeated? And he's just like, and that's the last 3 panels of the comic. That's where we're left off.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, this got really dark and dramatic really fast. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I enjoyed that issue immensely. It's definitely not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but like as a robot fiction guy, I highly enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm still really into this series and cannot wait to see where it goes.
Cool. Alrighty. You should play Detroit Become Human. I think you'd really enjoy it.
It's a style of game I'm not really into, but I've seen like playthroughs of it or starts of playthroughs of it, and the story seems like pretty all right robot stuff.
Okay. All right. So my final pick, yeah, the last week was just nothing. I had this book. That was
I saw that was it, and I was like, well, I don't even need to watch Ian's video this week.
Right. Yeah, so this is Zorro Legendary Adventures. So American Mythology Productions, comics, whatever you want to call them, started a Zorro run. And it's a new Zorro story. And then they also decided to start another Zorro book and not tell anyone, or at least the people that are in charge of marketing for Zorro did a really shit job, which honestly wouldn't surprise me.
Really? So this is a different thing?
Yes, this is a different series.
Oh, shoot,
but it's also not new. It's also not new in the slightest. So I kind of feel bad picking it. It's reprints from the 70s.
Oh no!
That's cool because like it's reprints, but it's also an update because there are 3 stories here, and they all say the exact same thing. Originally presented in Le Journal de Mickey number 195. Le Journal de Mickey number 1197. Le Journal de Mickey number 1249. So these are all French Zorro comics from the 70s.
Oh, so it's like you wouldn't have been able to get these another way.
Yeah, no. So this is like the first time I believe they've been translated to English.
Okay. Okay.
And because it's from a Mickey, Disney, from a Disney French magazine, it is doing the Guy Williams Zorro show continuity kind of thing. So got Sergeant Garcia here and everything. And these are actually, they're 3 quick, pretty fun stories. I think I like the first one the most, where there's like a troupe of actors in Los Angeles and they're making fun of the governor, and the governor doesn't like that. So he's like, all right, you can either all go to jail or you can put on a play making fun of Zorro. Which is it going to be? And so they like reluctantly decide to make fun of Zorro, and then Zorro's like, oh, that shit ain't going to stand. And he actually like kind of switches places with the actor mid-scene and then starts making fun of the governor and like duels him on stage and all this stuff. So that was, I don't know, that was a pretty fun one. Second story is about like Sergeant Garcia is kind of Zorro's Commissioner Gordon, but unintentionally in a buffoonish manner. What the Disney show would always
he's 66 Commissioner Gordon.
Kind of. What the show did was anytime like the bad guys would hatch a plan against Zorro, Garcia would have knowledge of it because he's in the military, and he'd go to the pub, and Don Diego de la Vega, Zorro's secret identity, would buy him wine and get him to spill the beans. And then Zorro would...
Our hero, everyone!
Yeah, and Zorro would miraculously, spring the tap and save the day anyway. And so, like...
Also, didn't you just say that was a Disney show?
Yeah.
The 70s, everyone!
No, actually, that's the crazy part. The show was from the late 50s, and they were still producing material for it in the 70s. That was a
kid show in the 50s. Holy shit.
Yeah. You just get the guy drunk. There's like a whole episode where like where Diego is under house arrest with Garcia there to guard him, and so Diego needs to find a way to evade them and get out. And he's like, Sergeant, tell me, what is the latest drinking song the men have come up with? And he's like, oh, yes. and he gets Garcia to just start drinking and singing.
This is a
relentlessly.
YouTube clickbait thumbnail waiting to happen.
Oh my god,
the
it's
50s
so
Disney Zorro show about drinking.
Yeah, no, I mean, like that. Garcia was getting drunk constantly. It was like you probably couldn't do it today, but it was super funny. It is legitimately hilarious how much Garcia would just be drinking. But yeah, he gets like him to start singing the song about like here's to a soldier's loyal dog. And he like takes a drink and here's to a soldier's loyal wife, takes a drink. Here's to a soldier's loyal mother-in-law, takes a drink. And he uses it to like last for hours. So he's like just pulling like the most obscure things. Here's to a soldier's loyal horse. Just
Here's to a soldier's loyal pocket lint.
Yeah, exactly. And so this story is about how the higher ups are starting to notice that Garcia keeps bubbling everything, and they're like, maybe he's not a fool. Maybe he's secretly been intentionally helping Zorro all this time. And so Diego's put in this situation where he's got to find a way to not let the bad guys win, but also not get Garcia in trouble.
I feel like if that came out now, it would be them going, maybe he's actually Zorro.
Garcia's a very rotund man, and Zorro is not. That was kind of an interesting one. Garcia's kind of a fan favorite character, so that was pretty fun to see. And then the final story is about how the bad guys are so certain that that Donnie Alejandro de la Vega, Zorro's dad, is secretly supporting Zorro and helping him. So Diego comes home and he's got to like stay under house arrest, and he's got to find a way to clear him and his father's name. And his way of doing that is sneaking Bernardo out, who's kind of like Zorro's Alfred / Robin, depending on what you're reading. So he's got to sneak Bernardo out to disguise himself as Zorro, and then Diego sneaks out, disguised as Zorro, and he's got to like clear the name, and he goes, yells, "As for you, Alejandro de la Vega, listen to me. I consider you and your good-for-nothing son accomplices of the governor. You think this big blowhard Garcia will protect you? He will not prevent me from visiting you whenever I want, and I will prove it to you." And so he's like, oh, well, clearly Zorro's not working for this guy now. So just 3 fun, it's nothing special, but I mean, on a week when this was the only thing I could have picked, it could have been much worse. So I thought it was pretty fun. And yeah, I don't know, I'm excited. Any Zorro content is good Zorro content, in my opinion. That's probably not true. Don't hold me to that one. All righty.
I pull out like somebody's awful Zorro fan fiction with self-insert characters.
Don't you fucking call me out like that, man.
All right. Well, if you insist, I won't.
Okay. What have you got for us next, sir?
All right. Well, for my honorable mention this month, our rule is that we can pick anything that is a new book that came out in the month, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, I pick Power Rangers Soul of the Dragon. This is an OGN that came out this month. It is both supposed to be in the continuity of the TV show, the final story for the character of Tommy Oliver, and it is supposed to be Kyle Higgins, the guy who kicked off the whole Power Rangers modern comics thing. It's supposed to be his final say on the franchise. And I feel like it accomplishes both things rather well. This is set, I believe, like 5 or 10 years after SPD, which is supposed to be in 2024, if I remember correctly. And SPD is my favorite season, which is basically Power Rangers Alien Nation. It's aliens have come to Earth, they've landed, they've immigrated with human society, but there's this evil space emperor, and he wants to take over Earth and kill everyone and just generally be a dickhead. So Power Ranger space cops are going to fight him. That's the plot of SPD. And it was my first season of Power Rangers, and it's still one of my favorites. Um, but this is basically old man Tommy living in that continuity, where he's grown up, he's had a kid, and his kid has gone off to the SPD Academy and is now a cadet. But at the start of this, he goes missing, and one of his friends from the academy comes to Tommy and is like, "Hey, your son disappeared like a week ago. Nobody's heard from him. I'm really think he might be in danger. We need to go figure out what's going on." And so the plot of this is basically Tommy running around New Tech City, which is the city where SPD took place, investigating various elements of its underground and just showing us like really cool sides of the PRU we haven't seen before. Like here's basically like a scummy hole in the wall bar with a bunch of aliens hanging out drinking and gambling in it that he has to go into to ask about his son. And we find out that or actually no, he gets in a fight with his son, who he thinks is dealing like these pills or something. Like they're crystals, that's what they are. They're crystals that if you break them in your hand, you get ranger powers. And he thinks his son is dealing these like they're drugs on the street, and his son uses them to get like what looks like a concept for a movieverse Green Ranger. They have a quick fight, and in the fight, the Master Morpher, which was introduced in this year's anniversary special as it's a morpher that lets Tommy turn into any of the powers he's had, because Tommy's had like 5 different sets of Ranger powers at this point. There are enough different Tommy power sets for him to be his own team. So in the anniversary special, instead of like having him have 6 different morphers and coming up for a reason why he still has some of his powers, it's just new morpher that gives him access to all of his powers. Shut up. We want to do fan service.
No, you know what they need to do? They need to do a time travel story where Tommy teams up with all the different versions of himself with all the different power sets and do a team that way.
You jest, but I'm surprised that hasn't happened in an annual yet. The Master Morpher gets damaged in this fight, and from now on, Tommy can only turn into each set of his powers one more time, and it's going in reverse order. So we get like a fight with him as Dino Thunder Black, a fight with him as Turbo Red, Zeo Red, so on and so forth, until we get to the end of the book where it's revealed that his son was actually undercover the whole time. Big surprise. And he's been trying to do like a sting operation and get at this villain who we think might be Rita Repulsa back from the dead, because she's just referred to as the witch for most of the time. But we find out, no, spoilers, it's Scorpina, one of Rita's underlings, who just kind of disappeared after Lord Zed showed up. There was never an explanation for what happened with Scorpina. It's just she was a character where we saw the Japanese actress's face in the footage, so it was hard to replicate her or really do anything with her after we started shooting our own villain footage, so she kind of disappeared. But this brings up that she's been kind of in the background for all these years in the PR universe, manipulating various villains in subtle ways, and she's gotten fed up with doing that and has decided, you know what, I'm just going to have my own big villain plot now. I'm going to try and take over the world, because I'm sick of waiting for other people to do it. The Earth sucks. I'm going to take over. And the final fight ends up being not Tommy versus her as the Green Ranger, which is what you think it's going to be, but it is JJ, Tommy's son, as the Green Ranger, as kind of a neat little passing of the torch thing. Long story short, Scorpina is defeated. We find out JJ is going to be promoted to the SPD B Squad, which is what their name up for their main team of Rangers is. Long story short, there was an A Squad team of SPD Rangers, but they went missing at the start of the show, so the show follows the B Squad. But then at the end of the show, the A Squad comes back, and they're evil, and we beat them. and the whole show was about the B Squad proving themselves. So now it's like, well, there's never going to be an A Squad from now on. It's just going to be the B Squad because you guys have proven yourselves and you're so great. And the A Squad being evil was like a huge disgrace. So we're just gonna revisionist history now. But we get a nice little wrap up scene with Tommy and Kat, who did appear a couple times in this book, but we didn't get like a whole lot with her, which was a bit disappointing for me. But that's like my one complaint with the book. And then they get on a little boat and sail off into the sunset, and that's hopefully the end of Tommy's character. I really feel like this should be, we've done the best, we've done the perfect JDF fan service Tommy Oliver story. We can put this character to bed now. Oh wait, JDF's on Facebook campaigning for a Soul of the Dragon movie.
Cool.
I'm done. I'm done. I quit. I'm done with Power Rangers. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Bye. Guess I'm just gonna do the show on my own. Man, that was like really dramatic and everything. He's still not back. This is getting ridiculous. Okay, here he comes. Here he comes. Good job on the.
I'm joking, of course, but like, seriously, JDF, give it a rest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. I saw it as like I don't know. Did you watch the Bat in the Sun series he did? My Morphin Life.
That was a thing.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway. Okay. So my honorable mention is Batman Damned #2.
Oh, that's still going.
Yeah. Yeah. Now let me tell you, if there had been just one bat penis in this, I probably would have made it my standard pick, or maybe even the best of the month. But there's no bat dicks, so I'm sorely disappointed. I don't know. This is just, Brian Azzarello is a really interesting writer to me, and he does a lot of really just great language work, which is something that people don't get enough credit for. So just shit like that. It's just really creepy. So Enchantress in this. Oh, okay. Hold on. Before I get to Enchantress, Etrigan's here, and he's like a rapper.
Yeah, a friend of mine posted that in his Discord server, and I think my reply was just that image of the guy going like,
yeah. But I know it totally works. It makes perfect sense that Etrigan would be a rapper because he has to speak in rhyme. So that was really cool. But then there's just like every time Enchantress shows up in this book, she is the stuff of nightmares. Between the way Azzarello writes her and the way Bermejo draws her is absolutely frightening. Tearless, I come to see what you now be. Bruce be dead, ever never mourned. My tearless tell me, what be left? Does it belong to me? Hush, no, my secret. And then he just like coupled that really weird broken English with just like this imagery. And it's damn scary.
See, I don't know shit about DC Enchantress, but like every time you talk about this character, it sounds good.
Oh, it's Azzarello 100%. He is writing her as just absolutely mortifying. Between the I can remove your pain, but it'll cost you in tears. And like I'm butchering the way he wrote it because the way he writes it makes it so much creepier. And now she's calling Batman tearless. That my tearless, my secret. Hush. I'm like,
I want my pain. I need my pain.
Yeah, it's so creepy.
I like how I just referenced one of the worst Star Trek lines of all time, and you skipped right over it.
Yeah, I don't have time for your bullshit. So yeah, that's really good. Just all the weird magic shit that's going on is pretty creepy too. Like Batman runs into a burning building, and then there's this guy, and he's like, "I know everything," and so but he like runs away, and Batman chases him further, and Constantine has to pull him out. He's like, "Oh, I can't believe you fell for that old gag." It's like it's apparently there's a ghost that just does that. Tells you he knows everything that you desire, but he's always inside a burning building. and he'll just run further into it to draw you in. That's really creepy and fucked, and I really like it. Playing
That's
with
also
Thomas,
a very Constantine thing to say to that.
yeah. Playing with Thomas Wayne being a cheater is also really interesting. And then you got Harley Quinn masquerading as the Joker. That was pretty cool. I really like the imagery associated with her. That's pretty neat.
Oh, cool. More Neo Joker.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I will say I don't love the way Azzarello writes Harley or Joker. I still hate Azzarello and Bermejo's Joker series. I think that's like the worst graphic novel I've ever read still, because it just butchers the character a lot. But I can't lie, there's a lot of pathos to this. Like Batman punches her and she just goes, "Hit me again. Please keep hitting me. I don't want to live. I can't live without him." And I'm just like, that's super fucking tragic. Then there's a weird scene where she straddles Batman and starts taking off her onesie, and she's like super scarred up and shit. That was unsettling. So yeah, it's a
that really seems like something that would happen in someone's fan fiction, but okay.
I think I've come to terms with the way...
wait, no, it did. That was in a movie. It was called Batman and Harley Quinn. Thank you, Paul Dini.
The way I've kind of come to terms with it is I think Azzarello writes Harley and Joker, at least from what I've seen, as like, actually mentally disturbed people. Normally when we read them, they're just kind of like these theatrical, over-the-top villains, and like we just kind of use, they're crazy as an excuse for why they do what they do. I think Azzarello is like, no, I'm just going to actually write crazy people, and they're going to behave very irrationally, and I'm going to try to make that scary. And I think that's kind of what he's going for. I personally don't like that.
I don't think that'll make for great stories in the long run, but that's a cool idea for a miniseries.
Yeah. So like I can't knock it too much because there's a lot else in here that's really interesting, and the Harley and Joker stuff seems to be more in the background. But yeah, it was pretty good. They're really using this Black Label line to do some stories that you definitely couldn't tell in regular DC continuity.
Yay! So, are we ever going to get more Black Label books, or is it just Batman Damned now? Because I feel like that's the only one that's come out. I could be wrong, though.
It is the only one that's come out so far. Okay. They announced this, like, usually DC kind of waits till the last minute to announce a thing. They announced this really early on, and just nothing's happened yet.
Oh, okay.
You couple that with the fact that Damned's a bi-monthly series, not a monthly series.
Because I feel like Black Label was announced the second month we did this show.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Weird.
Right.
Anyway, all right, I guess I'm going to rip this Band-Aid off. My pick for worst of the month is, say it with me now, Supergirl number 25. Ian, this was just embarrassing. Like, so you look at this cover, and this isn't the best cover. Supergirl's kind of drawn in a very weird, like, 90s, early 2000s.
Does she have ribs?
I don't think so. It's very poor art here on the cover, but she's in this kind of like this very solemn pose. It says "Who Weeps for Krypton?" extra-sized anniversary issue. You got the Black Death of Superman logo on there. You think like, okay, finally this is coming to a head. The last issue was kind of okay, and now we're finally doing what we said we were going to do with this. Kara's going to go to what's left of Krypton, and we're going to have this nice big introspective issue about the loss of the planet and her feelings about that. And this might be like an actual interesting look into the spirit of the character. And it starts off, and you feel like we might be getting that. And Kara's going off, and she's going in a spacesuit, and she's going to look around. And then she gets attacked by what looks like a Star Sapphire, but I don't think is, because they never say it is. It's just a weird space monster that happens to have the same general design scheme as a Star Sapphire suit. And then we get a weird kryptonite-induced flashback that feels like it might be hinting at saying something. And then that's just ignored because she gets taken by the I think that's what happened. Let me check. Yeah, she just gets taken by this monster. They're teleported away. And then Crypto and this sidekick character who we were introduced to last issue and is basically just Star-Lord with green skin. They're left just like, well, what the fuck? What are we going to do now? I guess we got to go find her. And we find out this was entirely just setting up the next arc with whoever the hell this is. I'm sure he's some obscure DC character I've never heard of before. And that's like maybe 15 pages tops.
Wow.
Then we get a second story that is a weird prequel with the side character I mentioned, just like setting up what he was doing before all of this happened. And then we get another quick little story, which is Christmas at the Danvers house with Kara after having been in a big fight, and she's all dirty and she's mad and she has to learn about Earth and the holiday spirit and all that good shit.
I feel like she's learned about Earth and the holiday spirit enough. I feel like she's like every Supergirl Christmas story I read, it's always her learning about the holiday spirit. I'm like, okay, she's either got it or she doesn't by this point.
It's really dumb. I mean, there's a nice little ending with her and the superhero Ice, because remember that's a character where they go and like give a bunch of foster kids a white Christmas, and that's really cute. But that's like the best thing that happens in here. And overall, this is just the most disappointing thing I've ever read. Because like I said, the last issue was kind of okay. It felt like, okay, maybe this book is starting to get its footing. Maybe this run might actually be good. And then this happens, and I hate saying this because I feel like it can be incredibly dismissive to people's work. But I honestly feel like everybody involved with this issue should feel deeply embarrassed. This is one of the worst Supergirl things I have ever read. It's not the worst, but it is up there in terms of like promising something really interesting and then just completely and utterly failing. You've said in the past that we should probably have a most misleading cover spot. This would definitely take that spot. This is terrible. I hated this.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Mine isn't nearly as doom and gloom and all that. Mine's Sandman Universe: The Dreaming, number 4.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's just I can't get invested in this as much as it wants me to. I don't have the investment level in it. I got really excited when we announced all these Sandman books that we're going to be doing, and then I started reading them, and none of them initially really connected with me besides The Dreaming, and even then it felt kind of shaky. And now I'm just at the point where I'm like, yeah, it's not that it's bad, it's not that it's done poorly or anything, it's just I'm not invested. I just don't care. And I hate that because I really like these characters and stuff, but I'm just not there for it, man. It took like, I gave it as fair a shake as I feel I could, but it's just not doing it for me. And it's not that it's bad, it's just I personally am not able to get invested in this. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't even want to bother summarizing it because it's so entrenched in what's been going on in the book to this point. I'm just not there for it. So
that's fair.
Yeah, I feel like it was between this and the latest issue of Superman, because I really didn't like the cliffhanger at the latest issue of Superman. But that one,
I figured you wouldn't like that. I read that issue and I was personally like, oh, I think Bendis might have finally found his footing with this book.
Yeah. I mean, I like the issue plenty. It's the cliffhanger that kind of got me, but I'm willing to give Bendis some rope because he's writing a really good Superman. This, I'm dropping the book, which kind of almost like it almost
pisses
like
you off or not disappoints you enough that you're gonna drop it. That's probably the worst thing.
Yeah, it's just
unless
like
you have multiple things like that.
Yeah, there's just nothing you really do. Once you drop a book, that's when you're just kind of like, yeah, this isn't working for me. So I don't know if someone's out there really enjoying the Dreaming. Good on you. I'm just not.
And I mean, like, I'm never gonna drop Supergirl, but it's the book I'm always the most invested in because there's never been like a really amazing Supergirl run, and I just want that so bad. So whenever I read a bad Supergirl thing, I'm like, I already have this. Why did you give me another one of these?
Oh no. All right. What you got next for us, sir?
All right. So my pick for best cover is Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers number 15, the issue where the romance subplot between Jason and Trini finally comes to a head because, like, this is just a really nice little cover that shows you exactly what happens on the inside. You know, this is the epitome of does what it says on the tin. This moment actually happens in the comic, and I really like how, because they're stuck in this alternate dimension with all this like deadly foliage and shit, there's a giant plant monster that's about to eat them, but you can see it's forming a heart around them, and that's really cute. I like it. It's you know, it's I believe the people in the business, they call that, what is it? Composition. That's you know, it's none of that here, so I'm sorry. I keep dragging that issue through the mud, but like, yeah, this is a really nice little cover, and you know, I think you could probably make that a poster for this book if you wanted to. Yeah,
that'll probably be one of those things the shippers will really appreciate, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, my best cover, I kind of revealed it earlier, is the Walmart DC holiday special. DC didn't really put out a proper holiday special in regular stores. It just saved it for the Walmart special, and it's really
that was annoying.
Yeah, it's really only one new story and a bunch of reprints, but I'd only read one of the reprints, so this was pretty enjoyable to get anyway. And I don't know, I love shit like this. I'm a sucker for that. You know, the characters enjoying the holidays is just super fun. Flash is front and center because he's the one with the new story. I'll talk a little bit about the issues or the stories in it. I love the title of the Flash story and the art by Brett Booth. And that's kind of where like the good things I have to say end, and the rest is just like, yeah, it's all right. But like the title is a stroke of brilliance. 'Twas the riot before Christmas. And it's Flash taking down a bunch of rioting prisoners at Iron Heights. So I thought that was that's cute. Brett Booth does amazing art, so I really appreciated that. What else happens? Then there's Metropolis Mailbag, which is a Dan Jurgens story from the 90s reprint, and it's about Superman answering letters that he gets in the mail. And that was nice and sweet, and it was cool at all. And then like apparently that's a thing because it's followed by a Supergirl story
I've read both those stories, yeah.
Yeah, that's about her answering letters that Superman gets in the mail. So like these are like clearly years apart.
Like both those stories are cute, but I always read that Supergirl story and went, doesn't she have like her own P.O. box?
Yeah, right. It's a little weird. So it's just like it's I guess it like makes it pretty canon that Superman gets mail that he waits till Christmas to answer.
Superman, he literally is Santa.
Yeah. And then we get the Tom King Good Boy reprint. That's the only one I'd read before, so it was fine. It was good to see that again. It's a great story.
I want that on a trade that features Good Boy. It was fine. Ian Harrington, 2018.
It was fine to see it again. It's a great story. And then we have a Batwoman story called Light and Dark, and this is a Hanukkah story. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Sneak in there.
Nice. it's good that they included that since they call it a holiday special and not just a Christmas special.
And then there's a Harley Quinn story that I didn't particularly enjoy nor hate. I guess someone out there really likes Amanda Connor's voice for Harley Quinn, and it's just not me.
Oh, yeah. The Amanda Connor Harley Quinn book is really popular with people who I think like it's mainly the people who like cosplay or at cons and are super big Harley fans and don't get. Okay, tangent that barely has anything to do with this. But the other day at work, a dude came in wearing a shirt that was a picture of the Joker in silhouette, and it said, it was just like the Joker's head and shoulders, and below him it said, "Her Joker." And I was like, okay, I know that's like Hot Topic garbage, you're trying to be cute, you're super in love with your girlfriend, but what that really implies is like you're an abusive, kind of psychologically warped bastard to your girlfriend, and I don't know if I want to serve you right now, sir.
Yeah, that's awkward. But the Amanda Connor Harley Quinn story is, to your point about this being a holiday special and not a Christmas special, this is about New Year's. Harley finds a gray hair and is off to go kill Father Time so that everybody stops aging. Not kill Father Time, specifically not kill Father Time, because as long as he's alive, then no one will age. And then the final story
is continuity with the Rankin Bass films.
I guess, I don't know. It's actually not Father Time. It's just an old guy in a nursing home named Time, Thyme.
Because of course.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. I don't get the appeal of Amanda Connor's Harley Quinn. I just kind of roll my eyes at it. And then there's a Steve Orlando story, Steve Orlando and Vita Alaya. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Green Lantern story with Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz. That's about Three Kings Day. And
that's right. He did write. Was he the guy who wrote Green Lanterns?
I believe so. I'm not sure because I didn't read it. So
I need to go back and read that because I read the first issue and I was like, this is really cute. I don't particularly care about these characters though, so I'm not going to keep up with it. But I really should go back and read it because I hear good things.
I got to be honest. I really like Jessica Cruz for a character that I've read almost nothing of. I really like her.
I do too. The more I hear about Jessica Cruz, she sounds like my kind of Green Lantern. But I just. Well, you don't read stuff until you read it.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put that.
So anyway, they find these like three alien kings that are, putting Earth on trial, and Jessica and Simon have to, go through the trials in order to determine whether Earth will get to live. And so the first trial is like putting them back where they began, where they first got the ring. And so that's like Jessica stuck in her home because she had agoraphobia, and Simon stuck in Gitmo. Which, if you don't know Simon's origin, he was in Gitmo.
I have actually read Simon's origin because I read the back half of John's run because I got into comics around the time everybody was screaming about how amazing his run was.
No, okay.
Also, real quick, Philip Clayton in the chat, roleplay doesn't necessarily mean endorsing abusive relationships. Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to say he was doing that. I was just saying that shirt is problematic. If you enjoy something, do it. If you're doing it in the privacy of your own home and it's consensual, fine, whatever. I just looked at that shirt and I was like, I don't know if you know what that could potentially mean.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, so then there's like another trial and they have to like, work together, and it's just a whole thing. It's sweet, it's cute. They go and they eat this dessert that's got like baby Jesus in it. I don't know this tradition, but it sounds disturbing, and I would punch someone in the face if they did that to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it was cute. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a sweet story. And I like the cover too. So yeah, that's all I got. Alrighty,
right.
What's your best of the month?
All right. Well, very, very unsurprisingly, my best of the month is Batman Annual number 3. I think this is the first time we've lined up on best of the month.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's good. That's all we have to say about that.
It's just a great done in one that you can throw at anyone who remotely knows anything about Batman. And like that is so important in comics nowadays because of how rare it is. And like I'm not one of those people who's constantly whinging about like, oh, I miss done in ones. We need more runs that are just a bunch of done in ones. But like
I mean, we do.
Whenever a done in one happens, I'm always really happy and I'm like, oh yay, special. But yeah, this is great.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, it's time for the comic book news segment. So I'll hand things over to Vac, and we will just see his internet screen.
I can switch to
Yes,
this one. All
right, there we go.
So we're starting off with a bit of Tom King Batman news. First off, Frank Miller is returning to The Dark Knight to draw something.
Oh.
He's drawn this, and that's what we know. That was worthy enough for CBR to do an article.
I mean, is it just going to be like, didn't he do that with the wedding issue? Didn't he do a page or something for the wedding issue?
I think he did like a page or two, but like people are acting like he might be drawing a full issue. But this article also points out he solicited to draw a variant cover. This could be that. But then again, the way Tom King's tweeting it, usually when he tweets like this, he's showing interior art.
Okay.
So, like, this could be something. Maybe Frank Miller is going to come in and draw an arc or a one and done for him. Or potential. I doubt they're already working on it, but this could potentially be for issue 100.
I mean, yeah, with Frank Miller, you'd probably need that much pre-notice.
Fair enough.
That dude is notorious for not finishing anything he starts. Alrighty, so that's happening. Cool.
Well, moving on, King has detailed more plans for the future of his run, again via tweets. He talked about issue 60, which came out. 61 through 69 is supposed to contain the Nightmares arc, which he has described as epic art scraping at the soul of Batman.
Oh, yeah, like that doesn't describe every fucking arc he's done so far.
Yeah. Issues 70 through 74 is going to be titled The Fall and the Fallen. And then issue 75 through Unknown is going to be a huge bad event with a secret name that sets up for the end at issue 105, because we do know the end of his run is going to be issue 105 now.
Okay.
So, yeah, the most interesting thing about this to me is apparently we're doing a new Batman event, which I don't think we've done since Endgame. So that should be somewhat interesting.
Yeah, with King running it, I'm cool with that.
I mean, I suppose you could count Night of the Monster Men, but I think that just ran through 2 books.
Yeah, it really wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah, and I haven't read it, so I don't really give a crap. If I didn't read it, it doesn't count.
It's not bad. Hugo Strange is kind of cool in it.
Hey, all right. Well, we'll go on to move on to Marvel now, where Marvel has put out a vague Marvel teaser.
Vague Marvel teaser!
And they tweeted out this image, Meet the Warners. Next day, they tweet out this GIF.
Is the GIF going to play?
Yep.
Okay.
They're a family of Skrulls. Meet the Skrulls is a new book coming from Robbie Thompson and Nico Horicchio, I think is how you pronounce his name. And I've not read anything by these two, but I'm honestly kind of excited for this because I think this is a really interesting thing. The Skrulls are kind of just generic baddies in the Marvel universe, but I've always thought like there's way more you can do with them, especially in the modern day when we're super obsessed with stuff like putting on a personality for YouTube videos or cosplaying and stuff like that. Like there's a lot you can do with Skrulls and social commentary now, and I hope this will be something like that. I have no inclination that it will be, but I think there's a lot of potential for a cool Skrull book, and this could be it. So I'm kind of
Okay.
excited for this. It'll be coming out in March 2019.
It feels like they're trying to do Vision all over again. And before you click off, I just want to read the headline. I don't even want to talk about it just beyond the headline, but I just see it over there in the corner. Smallville act. Oh, no, go down. Go down.
You were talking about that.
Yeah. Smallville actor uses Scientology as a defense in sex cult case. Brilliant. Okay, go on.
I haven't been keeping up with that at all, but
it's
Jesus.
bananas. It's BANANANAS. Anyway.
All right. Well, moving on. Marvel is going to show a new side of Darth Vader in Darth Vader Dark Visions. Have you heard about this?
I fucking called it. Someone answer the phone because I fucking called it.
Okay.
They do Gillen's run. It's 25 issues. It ends. They fucking 2 weeks later, Charles Soule starts up a comic, Darth Vader comic. It's 25 issues. It ends. 2 weeks later, this shit started up. What do you want to bet? It runs for 25 issues and ends.
Well, I will bet everything and win because it's a 5-issue mini written by Dennis Hopeless.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, this is basically going to be like, hey, if you're in a far-off part of the galaxy where you don't know about the Empire and the Jedi and all that, and you're not really aware of the Force, Darth Vader might appear like a kind of somewhat demonic hero to you. That's the premise of this series.
I'll read it.
I'll give it a look.
I mean, it's 5 issues.
I'm not super into current Star Wars, but you know, I'll give this a look. Anything is worth a shot.
Yeah, fair enough.
So the next thing is Garth Ennis and Stephen Epting are teaming up for a World War II Russia comic called Sarah. And that is basically all we have about it, is that information and this teaser image. It will be, we don't have a release date for it yet, but it seems pretty interesting because I know I'm a huge World War II guy. Like, it's one of my favorite periods of history to look into. I know very little about what Russia was doing during that time. So this will be interesting to look into because
I wonder, is there any information if this is based on a real person? Because there's a lot of famous stories about female Russian snipers in the war, because the Soviet Union was the first modern army to integrate genders.
I don't think it's based on a particular person, but it's probably based on that general concept.
Okay. It's that, like, there's a lot of stories about female snipers and stuff in the war. There was one circulating around for a bit as a bit of a meme of a quote from one of the ladies, and she was like, someone asked her, like, did you ever feel awkward shooting anybody? And she goes, no. I knew that the people I was shooting were Nazis, and that by shooting them, I would stop them from hurting other people. I'm like, damn.
Wholesome. Yeah, I would deem that wholesome.
Yeah. So I don't know. This sounds kind of interesting. Garth Ennis, he ain't half bad.
Yeah. So I haven't seen anything else about this yet, but if I do see more news about it in the future, I'll probably put it in here because I'm pretty interested in this, and I'll definitely at least pick up the first issue when it comes out, unless I hear like terrible things before I walk in the shop.
Okay.
So next up, Ian, let me ask you, how like aware of how the manga industry works are you?
Not super. Not really. I know that they don't do colors by and large because they can get it out faster that way, and that's about.
Yeah, nobody is allowed to be late in Japan.
Yeah,
that's a thing. Yeah, you have to be able to meet deadlines, or you can't make it as what they call a mangaka, which basically just means manga creator over there. And the manga industry is really interesting because it's not like we release comics over here where it's like you get a single issue each month and then there's trade collections later down the line. No, what they do is they'll give you like these phone book sized magazines every month or week depending on the company, and it's just like a new chapter of pretty much everything they do. And then eventually that's collected in a trade composition, which is how we get manga over here. The like volumes we get over here, that's their version of trades.
Okay.
And for the longest time, that's been like the only real way you can get manga. I mean, sometimes manga gets released in single issues over here in the States by random companies, but for the most part here in the States, it's like either you can read scanslations online or you can buy the volumes as they come out. But one company, arguably the biggest manga company, is changing that because Shonen Jump has announced that they are going to introduce a subscription service, an online subscription service, which will give people access to chapters of their currently running series for free, but for a payment of $1.99 a month, you will get access to a vault of basically everything they've ever released.
Wow.
Yeah.
That I have heard a little bit about that, but I didn't really know the full volume of it because I don't read much manga, except for a fan-made manga that we'll be reviewing later this week on Geeky Gentleman. Haha.
I mean, I'm not a manga expert, so I could be wrong about that, but from the list I saw, it looked like they were just throwing everything at it.
That's pretty cool. I'm excited. That's really neat. I'll say I'm not going to get it, but I know this is going to be a huge hit, so that's really cool for them.
Yeah, and it's really nice, especially because, you know, I'm a big fan of Japanese culture. Tokusatsu is one of my main things, but like Japan is generally a very conservative culture. They tend to be like 10 years behind America at any given time. And so to see a big name company like Shonen Jump just, well, jumping right into the streaming service thing this quickly, it's like, this is going to send a message to everybody of like, all right, get your shit together, because for the longest time, Tsuburaya Productions, the company that makes Ultraman, they had a deal with Crunchyroll, an anime streaming service, of like, yeah, you can stream our shows on your platform. That's fine. We know we have an American audience because Ultraman has aired in America dubbed before. But they stopped doing it recently, and they started releasing their own subtitles, which were terrible. And people have been saying for a long time that Toei, the company that makes Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, needs to get on the streaming service thing. And I feel like a big company like Shonen Jump, which Shonen Jump is kind of a household name in Japan. They are like the DC of Japan. So I feel like this will send a message to a lot of other Japanese media companies of like, we need to get on this or we could be left in the dust. And I'm really hoping for that.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Good for manga fans.
Yeah. All right. So now we have a bit of sad news because the other history of the DC universe has been postponed indefinitely. Basically, it was originally solicited for winter of this year, but it's been pushed back a couple times, and now it's just been outright, the orders have been canceled, and DC is saying we will resolicit it at a later date. It's not canceled, but it's basically on indefinite hiatus. It's been classic series Doctor Who. We have no idea if this is actually going to come out now, and I'm pretty upset because it sounded like a really interesting premise for a book, and I wanted to read it.
But, yeah, same.
Who knows if it's going to happen now?
Is this all because of the bat penis? Really?
It could be. I have no idea. This article says nothing about bat penis. So.
Well, I just know that they freaked out after bat penis, and that got like that whole fiasco, and so they like reconsidered the whole Black Label, and that's just dumb. Pain in the ass.
It is indeed an annoying thing. All right, well, let's move on to something a little more fun. Ian, are you ready for more vague Marvel teasers?
Yes.
All right. So first, I have to let you know that the history of the Marvel Universe is going to be destroyed next year. That's going to be a thing that will happen.
Oh, yeah? Really? That's surprising.
Yeah. But now I have to ask you some questions. First off, who really gave the Fantastic Four their powers?
Cosmic rays?
Possibly. Who brought the Amazing Spider-Man back after Spider-Man No More?
The fans?
Possibly. Who found Captain America on ice before the Avengers?
Nobody?
I don't know about that. And lastly, who saved Jean Grey from Dark Phoenix?
No one, because it happens like every other week.
All right, so here's what's really going on. Cosmic Ghost Rider is going to destroy Marvel's timeline this March in a mini-series called Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History.
Oh my fucking god. Yep, I'm there. I fucking love Cosmic Ghost Rider. It's the most batshit insane stuff ever. And this looks like it's right up the same alley. So yes, I'm so pleased.
I am big hype for this. This looks like it could be the next Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe.
That looks super fun. Okay, yeah, I'm there for that one. It's
not being written by Donny Cates, but I've been told the guy who is writing it, Paul Scheer, is pretty competent. So
okay. I mean, with a premise like that, he has to know what he's doing. There's no way he just acts like thinks that this is secretly going to be brilliant. I mean, just look at the cover. That's beautiful right there.
And apparently this is part of Marvel's whole big anniversary initiative. This is like their side project to Invasion, and I'm like, okay, I can dig it.
That's too fun. Okay, I'm there for this. I was worried it was gonna be like something all serious and shit. Nah, this is gonna be batshit insane.
Yeah, when those started coming out, I was like, oh god damn it, are we seriously doing another reboot after Invasion? And then this drops, and I'm like, yeah.
Oh, nice.
All right, so next up, continuing on with Marvel. Spider-Man's life story will be retold in real time, beginning with 1966 and the Vietnam War. So yeah, this is going to be a new miniseries called Spider-Man Life Story, which will be written by Chip Zdarsky. It's going to be 6 issues, part of the whole Marvel anniversary thing again. And yeah, I'm there for this. This sounds like a really interesting concept because
I'm not going to read it until the trade.
Fair enough.
That just sounds like something that's going to work a lot better in trade than it will month to month.
Yeah, it seems like a very Marvels-esque concept, and like if you're going to do something like Marvels again, but focus on a particular character, I would say either do Spider-Man or Captain America for that, because they're the 2 characters that like changed the most with the times.
Yeah. I really will say I love this cover because it does look like a Time magazine cover almost.
Yeah.
I think that's like, especially with where the Marvel logo's been placed and everything, I think that's really cool.
There's not much else to say on this. We don't know what aspects of history the other issues are going to focus on, but like if you're opening with the Vietnam War, I think this is going to be a pretty interesting, like, make a statement kind of a book.
Yeah, cool. Alrighty.
All right, so moving on to probably the biggest news of the month. Miss Marvel is getting a new creative team starting in 2019 with a title relaunch.
Yep, I know G. Willow Wilson was out the door on that, so it'll be interesting to see how other people write her.
Yeah, because, like, she's pretty much created by Wilson, and, like, I love Wilson's run. I think it's been amazing. But that being said, the last couple issues have felt like she's kind of dragging her feet, waiting around for either a milestone or a farewell arc. And now we know it's a farewell arc. And, like, part of me wants to be really upset about that. But, like, the thing is, it's not like she's getting kicked out of Marvel or anything. She's leaving on her own terms, and she's going to write freaking Wonder Woman.
Right?
She's going from Marvel's big name female character to DC's big female name character. It's like, how much more success can you get?
Yep.
So I support her in leaving, and, like, good on her for not waiting till a particular time to leave and just acknowledging like that she's starting to run out of ideas and it's time to leave. I always applaud creators for doing that instead of just playing a thing out until it can't be done anymore.
Spawn.
That being said, the person taking over for her isn't somebody I have a whole lot of faith in. I'm trying to find his name here because it's not coming to me really quick. It's the guy who's writing the current Miles Morales book. There it is. Saladin Ahmed.
Oh, that's the guy that did Exiles, and Exiles was terrible.
Yeah, and I read the first issue of that new Miles Morales' book. It was passable.
Okay.
It wasn't real good. It wasn't excuse me, it wasn't bad. But it really didn't make me want to keep reading. I was just like, this is a comic. It is fine. I don't feel like I need to keep reading it. It doesn't pull me in any way. It doesn't feel like it's going to be something big or interesting or any kind of statement on the character. It's just a fine comic. And like, this is Marvel's premier character, so I want to have a little faith that maybe he has like an actual idea and a run and he was like handpicked because of that. But there's no way to know until the first issue comes out. And like, honestly, if this doesn't grab me in the first issue, I'm not going to keep reading it because while I do love Kamala as a character, a lot of what makes me love the book is Wilson's writing style and the way she kind of portrays different aspects of Kamala's world. So if this is just what the Miles Morales' book is, which is just like, I keep saying Miles Morales'. If it's just like a generic teen superhero book, I'm not going to be interested. But like, I want to have like a teensy little bit of faith. So I don't know. We'll see. It's a thing.
Yeah. All right.
So moving on to some kind of exciting news. Hey, Free Comic Book Day. That's a thing that's coming up pretty quick.
5 months away, sure.
Well, we have solicitations for the what are called the gold tier Free Comic Book Day books, which basically means these are the books that every shop that's participating with Diamond is going to get. So first off, from Archie Comics, we have a Riverdale Season 3 special, Could Not Care Less. Boom is doing a Welcome to the Whedonverse, which is a combined Buffy the Vampire Slayer Firefly special. Okay.
We're really giving Joss Whedon his own universe?
Well, he's always had his own Whedon's always had like a big fandom unto himself and his own universe kind of a thing, but like now we're putting it all together in comics because that's a hot ticket thing to do right now.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't particularly care about either of these shows. I've seen the first episode of Firefly and I liked it quite a bit. I just haven't watched the rest.
I mean, it's fine, but like everyone acts like, oh, I can't believe this got canceled. I'm like, guys, it's really fucking weird. Of course it got canceled.
And like I have a famously disliked video about how I just couldn't get into Buffy. So this doesn't particularly interest me. Dark Horse is doing a Stranger Things and Black Hammer special.
Really? Okay, I'll read the Black Hammer one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gotta be. It's okay. Whatever. I guess I'll have to pick that up just for the Black Hammer thing. I don't really care about Stranger Things, but hey.
Yeah, and I didn't like their Stranger Things book when I read the first issue, so again, don't care about this. DC Comics is doing a top secret book. We don't know what it's going to be yet. Dollars to Donuts is the same thing as last year, where it's a collection of little short stories leading into big things they're doing for the rest of the year.
That'd be fine with me. Yeah. I'll take it.
I'll take it. IDW is doing TMNT Casualty of War. I don't know what the hell's going on in the IDW Ninja Turtles book right now, so I don't know if that's like this is going to be a one-shot story called that or if this is leading into an event. And honestly, I don't really care that much about Ninja Turtles, so nobody feel the need to tell me. I don't dislike the Ninja Turtles. I just don't particularly care about them.
Same.
Image Comics is doing a Deadly Class book. I literally have no idea what Deadly Class is, so I don't care.
Same.
Marvel is doing an Avengers special. I'm assuming it's going to tie into the Jason Aaron run. Okay.
Titan Comics is going to do something that's not good.
Yeah, a Doctor Who, the 13th Doctor special. No fucking thank you. Tokyo Pop is doing Disney manga Descendants.
Okay.
Whatever. Sure.
I think that was like a short series or something.
It was like 2 or 3 movies. I have a lot of friends who really liked them. Every time I see a trailer for them, they just look like bad fan films. So, no thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Valiant is doing a Bloodshot special. Okay.
Okay.
I know nothing about Valiant. Vault Comics, who I've never heard of, is doing an Interspector special. Viz Media is doing Pokemon I Choose You and Pokemon Adventures, reprints of manga.
Cool beans.
And that's it. That's all the gold tier books for this year. So only 2 that actually interest me, and it's the Marvel and DC books.
Yeah, I'll get the Black Hammer story too. Oh well.
So, okay. Like, maybe my shop will get like a few other things from the other tiers, but overall, it doesn't look to be a super exciting free comic book day this year.
Yeah, that's all right.
But you know what? It's free comic book day, so it's still like, it's neat.
Yeah, neat.
Yeah. All right, moving on to like a neat bit of like Indiana Jonesy news. Jack Kirby's grandson has been on Reddit recently, just posting pictures of art he saved back that Kirby never released. Like, here's a concept sketch for Big Barda.
Okay. That's cool.
There's a couple of Fantastic Four covers, the original sketches, and just other interesting stuff like that. I believe this article links to the Reddit thread he's been posting in. But yeah, like Kirby's grandson has just been going through his old art back catalogs and scanning stuff and putting it on the internet for people to see, which is really cool. Like, I don't think Jack Kirby himself would approve of it, because Jack Kirby famously kind of hated fans and conventions and sharing his art with people.
No, that's not true at all.
Really?
Oh, no, dude. Jack Kirby would let fans into his house and talk with them while he worked, and then would just give them the thing he spent hours working on. And if it was not for his wife, they would have left the house with it.
Huh.
Yeah, no, like Jack Kirby was super nice to fans and stuff.
All right. Well, I guess Marvel Comics The Untold Story lied to me about that. Unless it was talking about another creator and I've gotten it mixed up. But
the thing I'm talking about are anecdotes I've heard from over the years, and that one in particular was from a documentary on Jack Kirby. So
okay. Well, I don't know about that, but like, it's just a cool thing that's like happening out there on the internet, and I thought I'd bring it up because like Jack Kirby is still an artist that has an incredible following, and like his art's never been exactly my cup of tea, but I get why he is such a big deal. So I figured this would be something we should include.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to some news that you're probably going to perk up about, Ian. Ellis, King, and Coolin have been added to Detective Comics number 1000. We have a new slew of creators who have been added into it.
When is this happening?
I think it says in this article when it's solicited for.
March 27th. Okay. Because, like, I swear a couple weeks ago, someone was, like, posting Tuesday or something and showed the cover. I'm like, wait, so that's already going to be out? What?
No, I think we're on, like, issue 180 stuff or issue 987.
Okay.
All right. But the current creative team lineup is Kevin Smith and Jim Lee, Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Miliv, Warren Ellis and Becky Coulin, Paul Dini and Dustin Nguyen, Paul Dini and Steve Epting, Christopher Priest and Neil Adams, Jeff Johns and Kelly Jones, Tom King, Tony Daniel and Joel Jones, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, and James Tinian and Alvaro Martinez.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, those are some names.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
Denny O'Neil coming back, huh?
Yeah,
that's surprising.
And he's doing a sequel to an old Detective Comics story he did called There's No Hope in Crime Alley.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
So, you know, that's a thing that's around the corner. It's going to be some history. We'll all probably buy it and tout it up.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
All right. I guess just real quick, in addition to that, James Tynion has shared this is what Arkham Knight is going to look like in his story and that, because he's introducing Arkham Knight to the main DC continuity, and he has confirmed that it will not be Jason Todd.
Okay. Still haven't played Arkham Knight.
Yeah. I still don't particularly care about this, but hey, that's a sword. That's a cool sword.
Sword and a gun.
Yeah.
Overkill.
The 90s were a thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to some news I'm rather excited about, but I don't think you'll particularly care about, Ian. IDW is relaunching their Transformers line this month.
Yes! Finally! This is going to be awesome!
But yeah, IDW has kind of been famous for their Transformers comics in the last couple of years. They've basically just been like bastions of really interesting social commentary and sci-fi storytelling, and people have been telling me I should read them, but like by the time that started, they were already like 40 issues into the book everybody was raving about. So I was like, yeah, I'll trade weight on that and it'll be over eventually. And then they relaunched it into another title, and then it all kind of like ties together, and it's this weird Mobius strip thing, and I'm like, well, it'll happen one day. But IDW did end their Transformers universe, which is a bit weird because they had also just recently merged it with all the other Hasbro properties. So I don't know how that ending worked out in the other books, because I know there were like Transformer characters in some other books. Like Thundercracker was a member of G.I. Joe for a while, is a thing I heard. Wait, was it Thundercracker or Skyward? I don't know. I don't care. A Seeker was in G.I. Joe. There. But they ended it with a big mini-series that was kind of like an event about Unicron being in the IDW universe, and it looked really cool. I couldn't get into it because it was hinging on so much continuity that I hadn't read before. But this is going to be starting fresh, long before the actual war on Cybertron is when this is set. It's going to be written by a novelist called Brian Ruckley. I've never heard of him before, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. And it's going to, the first arc is supposedly going to be centering on Bumblebee, and I can't remember if it said Chromia or Windblade. It was one of those two. And it's going to be solving a murder case that supposedly kicks off the war on Cybertron, which is really interesting. That's an angle I've never seen taken with Transformers before. So it could be a pretty good thing, and you know, it's a great new starting point for anybody who wants to get into Transformers comics like myself. So I'm definitely going to check this out and see what it's like.
Cool. Happy for Transformers fans. I'm still not going to read it because I don't care about Transformers.
All right. So another thing that's kind of just here for me, Brian K. Vaughan's Paper Girls will be ending this July. It's going to end at issue 30, and honestly, thank God, because that book has felt like it's been dragging along for the last two arcs, and I was kind of just waiting for Vaughn to get to the point. And at the end of the last arc, it felt like he was starting to get to the point, and then he did one of his big asshole cliffhangers to lead into the next arc, and I was like, okay, let's fucking more of this shit. But the series will be and it is ending. It's not being canceled. This is the end of what Vaughn wants to do. So I stopped reading week to week, but I'll probably pick this up once the trade is out, and it'll be a thing.
Cool.
Yeah. Moving on to another series which is ending. Green Arrow will end with issue 50 at the beginning of this year.
It always seems that way. Green Arrow never seems to get past like 70 issues.
Yeah, because he tends to get caught up in big like events change stuff, and it seems like that might be happening again because the current writer has basically said this is not the end I planned. It's happening because of other stuff. But I'm also excited about where the character is going next because DC has, in quotes, wild plans for the Emerald Archer. And a lot of people are theorizing that this is due to Heroes in Crisis because Red Arrow died in that. And supposedly there's going to be more screwing with Ollie in that book later. But I'm not reading it, so I don't know. I can't say. I'm also not reading Green Arrow right now. Like, the current run seems okay. It's just not particularly to my taste. But I am a general Green Arrow fan, so that's why I wanted to throw this in.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I'm not reading it either, so it doesn't really affect me much. I'm surprised it's still going. Actually, I didn't realize.
All right. Well, our next story is the creator of Naruto has revealed the first look at his new series, which is called Samurai 8. And this is kind of a big deal because Naruto ended about a year ago, and since then he's been teasing. He kind of left the franchise because it is a franchise. He left it to another guy and kind of gave the rights to Shonen Jump and just said, like, here's a general concept for a sequel story manga you can do about Naruto's kid. I guess call me if you have questions about what you can or can't do with the characters, but I want to go and do something else. But first, I'm going to go on like a massive vacation because I'm exhausted because the guy has been working on Naruto pretty much consistently since it started. Like, he wasn't allowed to go on his fucking honeymoon because that book had to be on time.
Wow.
So now finally at a big manga convention in Japan, we've gotten this new project he's been teasing revealed. Not a lot of plot details, just a couple images like this one here, and little like motion trailer.
Okay.
I'm not going to play it because I don't want us to get hit with copyright. It basically just looks like Naruto but samurai themed.
Yeah, all right.
And like, fine enough. I've heard mixed things about later on Naruto. I'm one of those people who was big into early Naruto as a kid and then kind of fell off it and has come back in and checked in on it several times. So I can't speak to the quality of it on a whole, but I am fairly interested in this. So when it starts, I may give it like a cursory glance.
Okay. I have no interest in Naruto. So
fair enough. It's one of those things that either you were into it as a kid and thusly you're gonna always kind of be into it, or you just never cared.
Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty much. I think I was just a little too old for it by the time it started playing here in the States. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And that is the last of the news for 2018. That's it. We're done. We're wrapped up.
It is not. You are wrong. You're a liar. Because Steven Sejic is pissing me off, so I'm gonna.
Oh God! Oh, I forgot about this.
Yes, so I'm going to start bitching about Steven Sejic because I love that man. All right. So Steven Sejic did a Twitch stream a couple nights back, and he does these on occasion where he'll He'll stream some sketching. This is a sketch for Steven Sejic. Bow before his greatness. And he was doing this Poison Ivy sketch. And I was tuning in and out of the Twitch stream, and he was talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, so my current pitch with DC got approved, and I'm working on it, but I still can't talk about it. But depending on the sales of that, my next pitch, if that's really successful, is going to be for a Poison Ivy story." And then he talks about what he wanted the Poison Ivy story to be. And it was a really, really strong idea for a Poison Ivy story about her having multiple resurrections and stuff because, you know, she's a fucking plant. If you bury her, guess what happens? So then he did a Twitter thread about said plans for a Poison Ivy story. And then literally right when we were about to start the show, he releases this sketch. And just, you can't have these good of ideas and not do shit. And it's pissing me off. Wow. Because that is so fucking cool. Like, the idea he said is basically Ivy keeps dying, getting buried, and coming back different. Kind of like a Doctor Who thing almost, if you want to think about it like that. I thought
80s hair metal Poison Ivy would be a cool thing, but there it is.
Right? So he just keeps saying shit like this that's fucking genius. And given that his pitch, his assuming that his current thing is successful, his pitch is for Poison Ivy. I've seen his stuff that he's teased. His tease for the other book is called Isley. I'm pretty sure I've said this a number of times. I'm pretty sure Steven Sejic's going to do a sorry, vibrators. I'm pretty sure Steven Sejic's current work is a Harley Quinn centric book called Harleen.
It would not surprise me because that's kind of the thing that got him noticed.
No, he's been kicking around in the industry for a while, but that was a little thing that he did off randomly because he does genius work in his free time apparently, and that got really fucking popular. So he's been kicking around industry for a number of years though. Okay. He's been doing covers for DC for at least 5 years, I want to say. But yeah, there's this, and so my speculation is that he's working on Harleen for DC, maybe as a Black Label book, who knows. And then if that's successful, he's going to pitch them Isley. And yeah, if this is a taste of the kind of thing he wants to do, I am so there for it.
Well, that might be good because, you know, like we've never had a good solo Harley title, and we've also never really had a good Poison Ivy story in comics, from what I know. Like, there's a couple good short stories here and there, but there's not like a great arc. Or she's had a few solo minis, and from what I hear, they're all terrible. So
yeah, I didn't like. Oh God, I can't remember the name of it. I thought it was terrible though.
Yeah, but Steven Sejic coming in and giving us good shit. Hey, I'm up for that.
Yeah, same. So I don't know. That's what I'm hoping for. He keeps teasing brilliant ideas like that. It just pisses me off because it's 100% raw talent is all it comes down to. That he just teases an idea and it's fucking brilliant, you know? All right. Anyway, Simeon, sorry, whatever.
It happens.
Thanks for joining me for this month's monthly comic roundup. Everyone, thanks very much.
You are welcome. And hey, if anyone else wants to join in some live streaming fun today, later tonight I will be doing a New Year's Eve live stream on my The Vacuuminator channel, and anyone with a Discord account can join in. It's basically just going to be like a nice little internet chit chat about the year and our plans for 2019 party. So go ahead and head on over to youtube.com/thevacuuminator if you want to do that. It will be starting at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tonight.
Cool. All right, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.